Turn to somebody and say, receive power. I was looking at some of your faces. Right as the thing ready for joking, I see some people got see, everybody wants to receive power, but nobody want to get joke. Nobody want to get joke up in them face. Turn to somebody and say, receive power, man. Him never dead. Everybody wants power, right? But not everybody want to get joke. Not everybody wants to do what it takes to get the power. Lord have mercy. Will you do what it takes to get the power? So you can rise out of what you are in now and say, not everybody want the power, but just this week, I'm walking in the living room, and I'm walking, and we have cushions on our sofa and on the chair, and I'm walking, and I didn't see it. There was a cushion on the floor, and I slip. And at my age, a slip is not just a slip again. You slip and something going to slip. You shift too fast, something might not come back where it's supposed to be. So I said, who left the cushion on the floor? Now I have a couple choices, right? I said, Amara? Yes, Daddy? Did you leave the cushion on the floor? Who, me? Yes, you. Couldn't be. Then who? Malia left the cushion on the living room floor. Malia? Yes, Daddy? Did you leave the cushion on the floor? Who, me? Couldn't be. Yes, you. Then who? So I go, couldn't be somewhere. Mommy left the cushion on the floor. Marsha? Yes, honey? Did you leave the cushion on for who, me? Yes, you. Couldn't be. Then who? It must be you. And I said, who, me? Couldn't be. I said, I don't know this prep school business. How many remember in prep school? Who in here remembers who left the cookie in the cookie jar? Who, me? Couldn't be. Who, me? Who, me? Couldn't be. Then who? Who, me? Yes, you. Couldn't be. Then who? So we had this way. It was almost a game to pass around the blame. And we've grown up in this culture. Who did it? Who, me? Yes, you. Couldn't be. Then who? Yes, you. Then who? Couldn't be. Who, me? We have this way in our culture. We've grown up in it to pass around the blame. So everybody wants the credit, but nobody wants the blame. Everybody wants the credit. We're okay with the credit, but we're not okay with the responsibility that it takes to get the credit. I found that we've grown up pushing around and passing around the blame. We've grown up pushing around and passing around the responsibility for stuff. Who, me? Yes, you. Couldn't be. Well, then who? If it's not you. There was a group of guys, Peter, James, John, Matthew, Thomas, and these guys started following this guy named Jesus. And they're following him around because he was a great guy. But they just met him a little while, and up until this point, he was just pretty much a normal guy. Like them, a lot of leadership ability, great character, strong and stuff, but he was pretty much just a typical guy until, somebody say until they went to a party with him. They went to a party with him, and they're at a party, and later on in the night, just when the party started to get nice, just when it started to swing Jesus, his mother came up to him and said, Jesus, yes, mommy? The wine finished. Okay. And? Jesus, the wine finished. And what, mommy? So, yeah, I understand the wine done. I've had enough. No, Jesus, the wine finished. Yeah, so what you want me to do? You know what I want, just like do a thing. Do a thing. Okay, you know Jesus never talked patois, right? Do a thing. What thing, mother? So just like remember you're Jesus, you know. Remember you can do a thing and just do a thing because there's no more. Just do a thing and make someone. You mean you want me to? He said, no, this is not the place and this is not the time. She said, Jesus. I said, all right, mommy. And Jesus walks off. And all of these guys, they follow him because they're like, what is he going to do now? Mommy said, I want wine. He's going to do something about it. He might need some help if he need wine for the party. So they all went around to the back room. And Jesus said to some of the guys that work there, all right, you see those jars, those big jars that the wine was in, right? They're empty. Yes, boss, see them empty. Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to get water, just regular water, river water, and I want you to pour it in those jars. Just pour water in the jars? Yes, pour water in the jars. And they went, and it must have taken a little while because it's enough water, big jars. They went and they filled all the jars up with water. Meanwhile, the disciples are watching, and they say, what is Jesus doing? They want wine, not water. Right? And they watch, and they filled up the jars with water. Then afterwards, Jesus stood back, and he said, all right, somebody taste the wine. And one of the guys went, and he tasted it, and he called somebody else and said, you taste it. He called somebody else and they taste it. Then they started to wonder why they keep tasting it. Because it tastes good. Somebody said, listen, you would not believe it, but the water we put in there has now turned into wine. And not just no normal dege wine. Not no cheap wine. But the real, expensive, aged type stuff is some really good wine in this thing. And I can imagine the disciples saying, I don't believe it, make me taste some. Everybody drank wine. And everybody that knew what happened was blown away. And they're saying, wow, how could Jesus pour water in and get wine out? How did he do it? He must be some kind of superhero. He must have some kind of superpowers because we've never seen anything like that before. We've never tasted nothing like this yet either. So they said, listen, I'm not leaving Jesus, you know. He has superpowers. And they started to attach themselves to Jesus because he had powers that nobody else ever had. And they're seeing stuff, and Jesus left that wedding party after doing that big miracle, and he continued to do miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle. He started to do stuff that was impossible. They saw him straighten out a withered hand. They saw him open blind eyes, lame man walk, people with leprosy, their skin is clean and they're totally cured. He started to do all kinds of miraculous stuff, and they said, we're not leaving this Jesus. We're hitching up behind him because he has powers to do things that are impossible. He is a marvel. But not only was Jesus doing stuff, but he was knowing stuff too. You know, they were amazed not at just what he was doing, but what he was knowing. I don't know how many of you have read the stories, but these guys, one time, let me tell you about what Jesus knew. One time, Jesus called two of his disciples. Check this out. And he said to them, all right, guys, listen carefully. And he said, here's what I want you to do. I want two of you to go. You're going to go into Bethany because they were right outside. You're going to go into Bethany. You're going to go down the main road. Okay? You guys ever been to Bethany? No. Jesus said, well, I've never been there, but listen. You're going to go down the main road, then you're going to turn left. Then you're going to keep going down that left road. It's going to become smaller and smaller. And when you get there, you're going to see a bunch of donkeys, right? You're going to find a young colt, Now find one that has never been ridden. There's one of them in there. Nobody ever gone, nobody ever ride it yet. That one, when you see it, you're going to loose it and bring it to me. Now, when you turn around to bring it to me, the people them that own it, they're going to say to you, where you go with the donkey? Jesus is talking patois now. Where are you going with my ass? Where are you going with my colt? Sorry. I was thinking that's not patois. Where are you going with the colt? And you must tell him, the Lord wants it. And them going to say, oh, okay. So the guys did it. The guys said, well, we're going to do everything Jesus knew to tell us. And they walked down the road. They turned left. They went down the road, got narrow. They got to a bunch of donkeys. They looked for the one that they know nobody has ridden yet, a young colt. They loosed the colt. They started to walk off. The owners come and say, where you go to something? Them? And he said, the Lord needs the donkey. And they said, oh, the Lord? Okay, go on then if it's the Lord. The disciples come back. And they are walking with this donkey and they're blown away at how much Jesus knew. Jesus knew stuff that was unknowable. I want to hear what I'm saying. And they're blown away and said, Jesus, he has superpowers of knowing stuff. Not just doing stuff, but like knowing stuff. It's not like he just knows the future, but Jesus knows the past. And they saw him. He knew the present, and he knew things that were far off, and he knew things that were inside things and inside people. He knew people's thoughts. Jesus had superpowers to know stuff. He just knew it. He knew stuff. Jesus knew the unknowable. So, Jesus had them superpowers. So what they did was they attached themselves to his power. They attached themselves to him and said, I left him because he's so powerful. Not only did Jesus do stuff, not only did he know stuff, but Jesus actually said stuff that blew their mind. Jesus, he had the power. And whatever he said was unstoppable. It was undeniable. Everything he said came to pass. He would see a fig tree and he would say, dry up, and the fig tree dry up. He would be in the middle of a storm and he would tell the storm to calm, and the storm would calm. He would go into a room with a young lady that has been dead and say, get up, little girl. He would call to a man that was dead for 3 days and say, rise and walk. And he would come out of that. And this guy has superpowers. We better attach ourselves to him. He has powers of doing, somebody say doing. Powers of knowing, somebody say knowing. And powers in saying, somebody say saying. We have to attach ourselves. And they attach themselves to him. And they say, we're going to follow him to the ends of the earth because he has so much power. He is a marvel. We now left him. Him powerful. Do the impossible. Know the unknowable. Speak stuff that was unstoppable. It just had to happen. We now left him. We now left him an inch. So after Jesus died, he was resurrected. He came back. Jesus said, all right, I'm gone now, And they said, no, you cannot leave. No, Jesus, they hold on to him, No, Jesus, you can't leave. Why can't we leave? Well, why can't you leave? Well, Jesus said, why can't I leave? They said, well, because you have all the power. You have all this power, doing and knowing stuff and saying stuff. You can't leave. Why? Because we need it more now than ever. The Romans are oppressing us. The religious people, they are persecuting us. And the people are still crying out. They're still sick and they're still dying, and we need your power. We need your power because you can do and you know and you can say, Jesus, don't leave us. We're not going to make you leave. Hold on to him. Jesus said, no. They said to him, well, Jesus, how are we then going to restore the kingdom? How is the kingdom of God going to come on this earth if you are gone? And Jesus said, the power of God is about to fall on the earth, but not through me, through you. And how many of you know what they said? Who, me? Yes, you. Couldn't be. Jesus said, then who? You, Jesus. We just thought you were going to be here forever and be down here, you know. Jesus said, yes, you. And most of them, I believe their response was, couldn't be. Couldn't be me. I'm just, couldn't be me. Jesus said this. You will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you. Acts chapter 1, verse 8. You are going to receive power. Who, me? They asked. Yes, you. Couldn't be. Well, then who? 1 Corinthians 12, verse 7, it says this. It says, the manifestation of the Spirit is given to each one. He's talking to the people in the church, the children of God. To each one for the profit of all. For to one is given words of wisdom, to another words of knowledge. These are the gifts of knowing. Somebody say knowing. To another, faith by the same Spirit. To another, gifts of healing. And to another, the working of miracles. Somebody say doing. To another, prophecy. And to another, the discerning of spirits. That's a knowing gift. Prophecy is a speaking gift. And to another, all kinds of tongues and interpretation of tongues. Those are speaking gifts. He says, I'm going to pour out the Holy Spirit on each and every one of who know. And you will do the impossible. You will know the unknowable. And you will say things that will be unstoppable and undeniable in the earth. Mash up Rome. Mash up the religious system. Heal the people. Give them life. But the general response by the disciples and the general response by the children of God and by some of us is always, who, me? Couldn't we? Who, me? Jesus is saying today, yes, you. Each and every one of you. It is you that I am going to use. Get up off your knees. Get up off your face. Come out of your meetings and recognize that I'm not the one that's going to be doing and knowing and saying stuff in this season. You are the one that's going to be doing these things. Who, me? Somebody look at somebody and say, yes, you. Turn to somebody and say, yes, you. Are you the same one? You. God is calling you, everybody in this room. He's saying you are the ones that are going to do it. You are the ones that will have the superpowers. You are the one that will rise up and be a marvel in your world. I'm talking about doing stuff like Jesus did. Knowing stuff like Jesus knew stuff and speaking stuff. You, yes, you. God is calling you. You see, here's what I found as I looked through the Bible. Every time Jesus, God, a burning bush, an angel come down, a prophet comes down, and he comes to a man or a woman, and he says, you are the one that God is calling to have power and to do all kind of things. Their response is always, who, me? Could never be. And they always have a reason. They always have a really good reason why they could not be the one and why somebody else should do it. Ask me then who. Ask me who I think. Ask me who I think. I think PC should be the one that goes. Make a man go. Make a woman go. Must be somebody older than me. We pass around the responsibility. But all through the Old Testament, we see every time God is calling somebody to walk in power and to be a marvel, they are questioning. They're actually telling God why they can't do it. What happens what has happened to a lot of us is we come under what is called we come under and we come into, we get held and stuck in what is called a syndrome. Somebody say syndrome. We get caught in a syndrome, a state and a condition that we can't get ourselves out of, that we hide in, so that we don't have to take responsibility for what God is trying to give us. Somebody say a syndrome. Can I just simply go through a few syndromes with you and allow you to decide if you are caught in any of these syndromes? Let me define syndrome. A syndrome is a group of symptoms which consistently occur together, a condition characterized by a set of associated symptoms, a characteristic combination of opinions, emotions, behavior, and beliefs that we've adopted, that we are stuck in, a state that holds us somewhere, where our response to God when he says, yes, you, is could not ever, never be me. And some of you don't say it, but you live it. Many are living the not me, couldn't be me. How do you know you're living that? Well, we're going to go through that, but, well, first of all, because your power is not flowing yet. So there's some syndromes. Let me go through a couple stories, and then we'll wrap this up, right? The Moses syndrome. Moses is up on the backside of a mountain, right? And he's a shepherd. And he sees a burning bush, and the burning bush comes, and he tells him, Moses, take off your shoes, all kind of things, and say, listen, you are going to be the one that rescues the people out of Egypt. You're going to go in and you're going to take them out. You are the one. I'm calling you. You're going to be a marvel. You're going to be a great. And what does Moses say? Who, me? Couldn't be. Moses says, because he's stuck in a syndrome, a condition and a state, where he says, I cannot go back. You have to understand, I grew up as a fraud. I can't go back there. All of my life I was pretending. I don't even know the story, but from Moses saying, I was like a slave that was pretending to be a prince, that was pretending not to be a slave, that was pretending to be a prince. I would have to pretend because some people didn't know, I was a fraud. And my people, when they figured it out, they rejected me. I was a reject back there. I can't go back. I can't go back. You wouldn't know. God, remember, I'm a murderer, I can't go back there. Moses was stuck in a syndrome. Some of you are stuck in your past, and you cannot go into your future, the future God has for you. Some are stuck like Moses in there. Moses saying, I cannot go back. I have to stay here. I cannot go back to where I've come from. I can't go back. Stuck in your past. Stuck because of what you've done. I can't go on like I'm nice now after I was not nice before. So let me go through some symptoms. Number one, first, some people say, I am hiding from my past. I'm where I am, I'm good. My past can't catch me where I am. I'm too far from it. Some say, I will always be who I used to be. Moses said, people know what I did do, People know what I did. They're going to call me out, They're going to point on me, They're going to cut them eye, They know. I don't want to go back to them that know my past. So now what I did defines me. What I did defines who I am now. Doesn't it? I'm just not worthy. I'm stuck in my past. But then God comes, the burning bush. God comes along and he says, no, you are stuck in a syndrome, and I need you to know the truth. God says, Can I tell you the truth? To you who are stuck in your past, God is saying, I will, Bush said to Moses, I will wipe away your past. It will be like if it never happened. I will throw what you have done as far as I can to the west, as far as it can be from the east. And it's God saying I'm going through it, and that's really far. God is saying I'm going to wipe away what you have done. You need to wipe it away too. God is saying, I will redefine you. I will redefine you. God is saying, I will give you power. And as a matter of fact, it's like the lower you were and the worse you are off is the higher I'm going to lift you and the better I'm going to make you. God is saying, I know that in your past you were a mess, but the future I have for you, you will be a marvel. I know that you were a mess, but God is saying, what I have for you, I'm going to give you so much power. I'm going to set you so free that you are going to be so much higher. You are going to be a marvel. And the people them that remember what you did do, they're going to be drowned out and become saturated in what I am doing through your life. You will rescue my people. You will go in my power. And you will take my people out of bondage. Because I'm not coming down to do it. I'm going to do it through you. Set yourself free from your past. There's another set of people that are stuck in what I call the Gideon Syndrome. The Gideon Syndrome, what happened to Gideon is, the Bible says Gideon was threshing wheat. Threshing wheat. Hiding in a wine press. Threshing wheat. Right? That's not, you don't thresh wheat in a wine press. Okay? You thresh wheat where there's somewhere that has air that can, I don't know how he was doing, breeze blowing, and I don't know how he was doing, but he was hiding, doing something, and an angel of the Lord showed up for him, and the angel of the Lord said, mighty man of valor. And of course, Gideon said, who, me? Couldn't be. He says, no, you are a mighty man of valor. That was an idiom for, you are a mighty warrior, and you are going to rescue your people. You are a mighty man. You're going to fight and you're going to win battles. And he said, no, couldn't be. You're looking for somebody else. And he went on to explain to him why he could not be a mighty man, why he could not be a marvel at all. He said to him, I'm just too weak. Don't you know I'm from the tribe of Manasseh? And Manasseh is not even one of the 12 tribes. Like, we're a rejected tribe. We were a sideline tribe. I mean, Grandpa didn't even bless my grandpa. My grandpa didn't bless Manasseh. Him just bless him brother. And so it's like we're a reject. He said, and I'm from the tribe of Manasseh. They look outside one, but not only that. I am actually from a clan in Manasseh. That's the smallest clan. So it's like, I'm the weakest of the rejected. And not only that, in my family, like me and my brothers and my sister, I'm the youngest. So I'm the smallest. So I'm the weakest of the weakest. I'm the smallest of the weakest of the rejected. Could not be me you're talking to. The angel says, yes, you. Those that are stuck in this syndrome are stuck in a lack of security about who they are. They're actually sure that they are nothing. And they say, you know what? What I do is I hide from where I've come from. And I hide where I come from. I don't tell nobody where I come from. I don't like where I've come from. Because nobody really respects me. Nobody give me no ratings at all. You know, I am weaker than everybody that is around me. Can't you see? At least I feel weaker than everybody else around me. You know, the way I've grown up, I have to settle for the what left. I have to settle for what's left. Like this, the piece of chicken nobody don't want. That's what I get. I get the scraps. Like I'm a scrub, so I get the scraps. You know, when they're picking people to go on teams and when they're picking people to go and do things, they don't pick me like I'm the last pick. They only pick me because I'm left. I'm the last one. I'm the last pick always. And all of my life, those going through the syndrome will say, I sit where I am and I watch everybody else succeed. That's what I do. I watch everybody else succeed. I am, I believe, the most likely to not succeed. Stuck in an insecurity about where you've come from. But the angel of the Lord comes and he says, listen, mighty man of valor, it's not about where you've come from. It's about where you're going. He says, I choose you. You are my first pick. He says, you are perfect for what I have planned, Gideon. You are perfect. As a matter of fact, the stones that the builders reject are often the stones I take up and use and make powerful, make them the cornerstone. They're what I build on. And you will receive power. I'm going to give you so much power that because you look so unsuspecting, the enemy will not know what is coming at him. And when you come, the enemy not going to know what to do with you. I know you feel like you come from nowhere, but where you are going, only few men and women have gone. Your name will be great, and your enemies will cringe when they hear your name. It's not about where you come from. It's where I'm taking you, God is saying. You will receive power, regardless of the weakness that you've come from. Set yourself free from feeling like you're nothing and be all of what God has called you to be. The David Syndrome. Young David Syndrome. David had a bunch of syndromes, but young David Syndrome, he was in a situation, right, where, you know, everybody else would say, oh, him? Couldn't be. He was surrounded by symptoms that were all around him, that were telling him, oh, you couldn't be you. I mean, they had a meeting. The prophet of God came to meet his entire family, and guess what? They didn't even think about him coming to the meeting. The prophet is coming, call everybody that is important. You know, when the prophet come, he must anoint somebody. Him come here to give somebody something special, get everybody that's special. David wasn't even invited. So eventually, after the prophet passed through everybody else and him don't say, but special person yet, who else is there? They brought this little young man in. And David came in, and he's surrounded by a syndrome. Surrounded, caught, stuck in a situation. Let me go through some of these symptoms, because a lot of you are stuck in this syndrome, where you are surrounded by those that are older than you. You're surrounded most often by people that are, for sure, smarter than you. I get better grades. They look smarter. You're surrounded by people that are definitely stronger than you, taller than you, more muscles than you. They're stronger. They push harder. They're just... David said, those I look up to, it's like they're holding me down. And those I think highly of, think very little of me. I'm always given some insignificant task, like just go deal with the sheep then. And I'm never invited to the meetings. I mean, like the important thing, I'm never even given a seat at the table. I'm not even brought into the room. And they say I'll never become anything because I'm just. But I feel greatness inside me, David said. I feel fearless inside. I feel potential and power bottled up inside of me, but I can't release it because of everybody that is around me keeping me down. But the prophet of God pulls David aside, drape him up and pull him away from him brothers and him fathers and say, well, you stand up in front of me. Let me tell you who you are. Don't let anybody tell you any different than what I'm about to tell you. And him take out a bottle of oil to seal the deal, and he said, pour the oil over him and say, you are the one. You are the one that God has called. God doesn't look at age and height and muscles. God looks at what is going on the inside. God likes what is going on the inside. You are the one. God, David, chooses the foolish things to confound the wise, and he chooses the weak things to shame those that are strong. He says, you will receive power. As I'm pouring this oil on your head, I'm telling you, you will receive power. You will be a marvel. You will be the greatest king that ever lived. I am going to prepare a table for you right in front of your enemies, and all of your enemies, all of your haters will watch as you rise up and as I elevate you to prominence. Everybody that pushes you down, they're going to watch you rise, and all the push them push. They won't be able to stop you rising because of the power that I'm pouring out into your life. I don't care what anybody else has said. I don't care the place that they've put you in. I choose you. I lift you up. Now, God is saying. The prophet says, now rise up and be who God has called you to be. Receive the power of God. You are a marvel and nothing less. It's time to break out of the syndrome that everybody else puts you in and be in the place that God has you. It's time for you to stop saying, who, me? Couldn't be. God is saying to everybody here, yes, you. God is saying, yes, you. God is saying, don't ask me again. After today, yes, you. Don't call nobody else's name. The answer to the call, or my statement to you, God is saying, is yes, you. You are the one that must rise up. You must receive the power. You can do the impossible. You will know the unknowable. You will say things that will be unstoppable. Yes, you. A pastor told me a story. And he said, there's a guy in my church. I want to tell you this amazing story. I said, okay. He said, he's the mayor of our city. I said, wow, really, the mayor come? He said, yes. And he said, the mayor sat down with me. He came and he had asked me to meet with him, and he's in tears. And I said, why would the mayor come to you crying? He said, listen, the mayor said, listen, he said, I live, the mayor says, I live in a $1 million house right down the road. Right? I have money. I can get anything I want. I am very, very important. I have a 10-man security team. I'm talking 5 that are always with me, 3 that go where I'm going, and 2 that stay where I come from. So, and listen, I had 30,000 people vote for me, and only 3,000 vote for the opponent. I mean, they love me. You understand? I carry around and I give away keys to the city. You understand? I'm managing billions of dollars in this budget, US. Says I have all this power. I make all the big decisions for hundreds of thousands of people. I have all this power. And he's crying. And he says, but I have all this power, I have all this stuff, I have all this influence, I have all these people, all this love. And he says, but my daughter has cancer running through her body. And I am powerless to do anything for her. Spent all kind of money already, and I have all kinds of power, but I don't have the power to heal my daughter. One of them kind of power there. I don't have the kind of power that money can't buy. And he said, the mayor asked me, so do you have the power? Please say yes. Do you have the power? And him say, I'm going to like a preacher, and him say, well, this reminds me of a story in the New Testament where a very powerful man, a centurion, came to Jesus. And he said, can you heal my servant? And the centurion, like you, said, I have power, I understand power. And he asked Jesus, do you have the power? And the pastor said, so I told him Jesus has the power. Him say, I don't want to know about Jesus. I don't see Jesus. I want to know, Pastor, do you have the power that money cannot buy? Because my daughter she's dying. We've gone everywhere else. Do you have the power? I don't want to hear about Jesus. He said, bring your daughter. Let's pray. He brought his daughter. They laid hands on the daughter, and they prayed for her healing and for the remission and the removal of cancer in her body. And they prayed, and she was 100% healed. What the pastor said? He said, here's the amazing thing. He said she was healed, but it took some time. It took a little while. It took just enough time. And the pastor getting excited, tell me, it took just enough time for the family to have to come to church every week and bring her. He said it took just enough time for the family to start coming to church. It took just enough time for the family to come and start praying with us. It took just enough time for them to become a part of what God was doing. And he says after she was healed, the mayor came to me and said, thank you. Not just for healing my daughter, but for showing me that I have the power. Mayor said, now I have all the power. Not just the power that money can give me, but I have the power of God flowing through me. A power flowing through me that is stronger than cancer. A power that can bring my family together. Thank you for showing me that I have the power. You see, the world is chasing power. Some of you have been chasing power. But there comes a point where the world is going to cry out for a power that them cannot buy. They're going to cry out for the power that they really, 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 really need. When it comes down to it, there are things that only God can do, that only God will know, and that only God can speak into being. When they call for the power, will you have it? What is the seat of your power? I mean, what is the seat of your power? I'm done, but listen to this. What is the seat of your power? Because I know some of you, you think the seat of your power is in how smart you are. You think it's in your experience. Some of you think that it's in your walk. I have a power walk, you know. And the seat of my power is in my hips. And when I take pictures, I take them from the back. So, not me, I'm just saying. Some other people. I take mine straight. Some of you think the power is in your hips, and some of you think the power is in how smart you are, and some of you think the power is in money. But when will you have the power that is really needed? Peter and John are walking. I'm done, listen to this. Peter and John are walking. And they're walking through the gate of the temple. They call that gate the gate beautiful. And there was a man there that them would bring, every day them bring this man. He couldn't walk. They would bring him every day there to beg. From him born, him can't walk. So him born not walking. He was lame from birth. And they brought him every day. It's like it's him work. And they bring him and then put him down there so he could ask for what everybody might have or might not have. See, most people, they wouldn't go to the temple back then without having something to put in the temple. So he knows everybody's bringing something for God. Maybe they will give me something. Everybody's bringing what they have to God. Maybe they'll give me some of what they have. So he's begging, and he's obviously not standing. He's crying out, begging something, give me something. Peter and John walk up to him, and of course, they ask him, give me something. And Peter and John said this, and they said, silver and gold have I none, but what I do have, I give to you. And they said, rise up and walk in the power of the living God, in the power of Jesus Christ, who was dead and was resurrected. I don't have no money for you, but that's not what you really need anyway. I have what you really, really, really need. Now rise up and walk. And you know the man, get up and him walk. And the crowds flocked to Peter and John. And they said, and the Bible said they marveled at them. You guys are a marvel. How do you do that? And I said, well, what we've received really is not ours. You know, we have power, but it is the power of Jesus Christ flowing through us. We're not Jesus, because they wanted to worship them. So we're not Jesus, we just have received the power to do the impossible, to know the unknowable, and to speak stuff that is unstoppable. If you want some of that power, go ahead and stand with me. Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's time for you to give up whatever you think the seat of power is in your life. Because everybody's leaning on something. God is saying, let my power be your power. Because the world is coming and they're asking for silver and gold and they're asking for all kinds of stuff. They don't even know what to ask for. But there is coming a day when you need to say, none of that stuff can help you. The real power I'll give to you. The power of Jesus Christ. That breaks us out of every syndrome, every system, every condition, and every state that keeps us stuck in the past and in insecurity and in what everybody else puts us in. Heavenly Father, I pray over your people today that they would, when asked, do you want to receive the power? They will say, who, me? Yes, me. I will receive the power of God. I want to do and I want to know. I want to speak your will, oh God. I want to have and to give what the world really, really, really needs. I want to be a marvel. I accept, oh God, that you're pouring out your Spirit on each and every one of us. I just have to receive it. I receive it. I receive it. Somebody say, I receive. I receive it. I receive your power, oh God, right now. I receive your power, oh God, right now. I will be the one that answers yes. I will be the one that you move through. I reject every syndrome. I walk away from my past right now. I reject all insecurity about myself right now. I reject what everybody else says about me and what they want to make me do, and I receive your power now in Jesus' name. Do me a favor. If you want to receive his power, just put your hands together.